Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.
It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, here in Phoenix, Arizona, from the beautiful studios of Freedoms with an S, freedomsphoenix.com. Now, let me tell you what we're doing today. We're just going to, we're going to timestamp this point in history with one of my favorite authors, Larken Rose. Now, Larken's been out there, I tell you, let me go give you a real quick intro from my perspective. There was a mini CD that was being passed out years ago that, I have him correct me. It was section, something ARS or IRS 861, whatever it was. He'll correct me. But it was an understanding of what the designation was for you as a wage earner and how susceptible you really were to the IRS. Well, the law says. Well, they don't care what the law says, and he made that very apparent. It got to the point to where pressing that issue, he actually served time. And then when he got out, it was his wife's turn. This was when, I think that's probably when he wrote The Iron Web. You give me extra time and pen and paper, guess what's going to come out? Well, the thing is that Larken, we got to meet up finally in person at PorkFest this last summer, and it was a great time. We had him on the radio show live from there, and I really like his writing because he doesn't pull any punches, and he just tells it like it is in his own style with a non-violent, non-confrontational, non-aggressive manner, but that doesn't mean that you ignore the aggression that's coming against us, that's already upon us. And how do we extricate ourselves from that? It's a revolution between the ears. It's how you look at government. How do you respond to them? How do you live your life in an oppressive regime? Well, we're going to talk about that. Now, the one thing I got you there, Larken?
Yep.
Larken, the one thing that I really appreciated your article on the shooting in Tucson. And the point that you were making was, blah, 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 blah. The bottom line is that they always put the ruling class, if they're not serving the elite, then they are the elite. They just keep elevating themselves to where they get their own special laws and such. And I did a radio show, a progressive radio station in Dallas-Fort Worth yesterday. And I refused to do, I got called by CNN and all the, the Talking Point Memo guys and all the different MSNBC people, everybody that was trying to get hold of me for when we were here with our firearms when Obama came just over a year ago. And the one thing that they wanted is they wanted to get they wanted to get you. They're always trying to get you. See, guns kill people. And I'm going, nah, it didn't go. I did it live with CNN, and it didn't work out well for them. So they wanted another bite. Well, I put up an article, and I said, look, you guys want to talk to me? It's live. Radio, television, live. Well, they did have a radio progressive program in Dallas, Fort Worth, and I did some research on it, so I knew where it was going to go. And we got to say what we said. We had a nice conversation. Then we have today Alan Corwin, the author of Arizona Gun Laws here. He does a lot of gun books, and he's always at the gun shows and so on, and he's an expert on. And they had him on CNN last night with Spitzer and whoever it was. What's her name? And it didn't go the way they wanted either. I don't think this is really panning out the way they had hoped. And what I'm afraid is that they're really, instead of focusing on the guns, I think they're really going to start focusing on free speech, and the rhetoric's to blame. So I'm not seeing freedom's going to, get served in this thing, but of course we're getting the words out. And I wanted to mention that because it was from your article that I set the tone of the entire conversation when they're talking about the 1,000-foot limit and all that kind of stuff. And I'm going, man, I mean, in your mind, they're already royalty. I mean, you're already seeing them that way. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about, we got plenty of time. Me and Larken, we're going to have some fun. We're going to go ahead and talk about this revolution going on between the ears. And in the couple of minutes that we got left in this segment, I want to talk a little bit. I know you got some other books coming out, but I want to talk about Iron Web and where that came from and the philosophy behind it. And when did you write it? So go ahead and give me your spiel on that one, man.
The Iron Web I did actually write in prison. They gave me a year, and I wrote a couple books and an album. And one of the books was The Iron Web. Some people are mistakenly under the impression that I was a good, law-abiding statist until I had my run-in with the IRS, and that made me into an anarchist. And I hate to burst that, fun-sounding story, but I actually, this is what I believed years before I had ever knew anything about the tax laws. But the reason for writing The Iron Web, which is a novel, it's fiction, sort of. It's about as close as you can get to the truth and still be sort of fictional. But the reason for writing it was basically, when it comes to philosophical ideas, revolution between the ears, as you call it, people aren't comfortable reconsidering fundamental assumptions about how they view the world. And so if you go up to them and say, here, I want you to completely reconsider your entire view of reality, they plug their ears and run away. But I thought, well, for ages and ages, the socialists and commies have been using Hollywood to sneak in their message inside fiction. And I thought, well, if you can sneak a lie inside fiction, sneak some truth in there instead. And so it's basically, I hope the story in and of itself is interesting and exciting and fun to read and all that. And from the response I got, apparently it is, to some people at least. But wanting to get in there, without ruining the story, the theme really is watching people go through, three characters in particular, go through a revolution between the ears, having them live through a situation and a series of events that changes how they see reality. And they come out the other end as different people than what they started. Which is, none of the three main characters start out as being people I would, you and I would agree with and get along with and all that, philosophically, but they all, by the end, realize, wow, the way I was trained to view the world is not the way the world is.
Well, the one thing that I really wanted to emphasize is, we'll get to that. Let's go ahead and talk about my first experience with your altercation with the IRS. I don't want to get into all the 15 gazillion ouch quit it, the law says, and, they don't care what it says, so, I don't care. But what was the basis of that whole discussion that you brought to national attention? What was the one message that you got out with that?
Yeah, well, the legal basis was basically your tax laws show that income from international trade is subject to the tax, and income from an American living and working here isn't. That was the legal issue. It wasn't the philosophical thing. It wasn't this is wrong, this is theft, which are all true. That just didn't have anything to do with the actual case. And their response was, shut up or we hurt you, and then they raided our house and eventually prosecuted me, and the entire trial was make sure he isn't allowed to say what he thinks or what he did or show the video. Or
when we come back, that's where we're going to pick it up. There was, Larken did time, and he wanted to make a point. I mean, it was, I don't think it was a big giant surprise we were going to go through this process, but I get the impression Larken was thinking long term. Well, that's what we're going to spend time on, because long term is a coming. It's not long term anymore. We'll be right back. This is Ernest Hancock. I'm publisher of freedomsphoenix.com and the radio talk show host of Declare Your Independence. Now, I want to give you my personal endorsement of a wealthy U.S. citizen that is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He's produced a video for you. It's a real eye-opener, and I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to watch it. www.endofamerica, the numbers 1 and 7.com. endofamerica17.com. This video has the history of how we got where we are now and where we're going and why. Now, it's a lengthy video. It'll be about 20 minutes, but you need to watch this so you understand what's going to happen to this country and how you can protect your wealth and even benefit financially. Now, you go there. It's free. I want you to watch this video. You need to have this information so that you can survive the economic collapse that's coming to America. It's not if, it's when. That's End of America, the numbers 1 and 7.com. After you watch it, you'll understand why I endorse it.